In light of the coronavirus crisis, quote, crisis, please share your opinion on mandated vaccinations and/or other mandated medical procedures.
I have a very good friend who had a perfectly normal and healthy son who they took to the doctor for his vaccinations and 2 weeks later developed severe autism. This despite the fact that our government insists that there is no danger to vaccinations. I watched a report from a conference on vaccination just the other day, and it was admitted that because of the many different types of vaccines in use today, the live, the dead, the so on and so forth, and the different preservatives and other compounds that are added into them to make them active at a certain period of time, there are substantial risks associated with them. So on that basis, on those two bases, I say that mandated vaccines and such are not appropriate. They're not within the province of government. Now, let's look at the coronavirus or any other thing which is labeled a pandemic. Now that the death rate has been raised on the coronavirus from 2% to 3.5%, this now exceeds SARS in its fatality rate. And the government is going to do something. And when the government does something, it's often the wrong thing. We got the Spanish influenza in 1918, 1919 because we brought the troops home from Europe, which killed millions of people. We can't trust the government to do it right. Look at the Diamond Princess. Look at the incident there. The first thing they should have done, not our government, but the Japanese, would be to remove all those people and isolate them instead of making that a petri dish for the spread of the disease. The other part of the question is, will the power that the government takes in addressing this crisis be sunsetted after the crisis is over? And that's always a threat. That's the problem with the Patriot Act as well. I totally agree. The Patriot Act is a disaster. And not because of the reasons mentioned, but also because of asset forfeiture. And that's a different topic, which I hope we'll address later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I'd mention a couple of books that I have read recently. We talked about, a long time ago, about mortality rates declining in the United States. There's an excellent book that came out about a year ago called The Hacking of the American Mind. And it talks about metabolic disorder, which is a new condition which is dramatically shortening lifespan in the United States. And it came about because in the 40s and 50s, the United States has this great discussion about, is sugar better for you than fat? And the sugar lobby won. So we now have millions and millions of Americans suffering from metabolic disorder. The other book is about DDT, and this is a classic example of every government in the world agreeing and being wrong at the same time. If you remember Rachel Carson, 50 years ago, Silent Spring. There's a book out now, it's been out about 3 or 4 years, Silent Spring at 50. DDT was banned worldwide because it was considered dangerous to human health. 50 years later, research has proven conclusively not one human being has ever been harmed by DDT, but tens of millions of people have died horribly because there's no substitute for DDT. Thank you, governments.